Hello Year 5, I hope you had a good half-term break and I hope that you found some fun things to do despite the restrictions. Welcome to Term 4 and I'm here today just to tell you a little bit about your new maths topic and to talk you through the different lessons that you're going to be doing this week in your home learning. We're going to start a 2-week unit all about decimals. And I know that decimals are not something completely new to you because we've been bringing them into all kinds of units of work already this year. But we're going to take this time just to really focus in on them, to think about how they relate to fractions and to apply lots of different skills that we know to decimal numbers. And if you look at the place value chart on the screen, up until now we've largely focused on the places to the left of the decimal point, and we've thought about larger numbers all the way up to millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions. But now we're going to be looking at these places to the right of the decimal point. So we're looking at the first decimal place, which is the tenths, the second decimal place, which is the hundredths, and the third decimal place, which is the thousandths. And the numbers that we're going to be dealing with over these 2 weeks are numbers which have either 1, 2 or 3 decimal places. You're going to begin on Monday as always with your arithmetic. Hopefully you're doing really well with these. Obviously they follow the similar pattern each week, so if you have made a mistake, hopefully you've taken the opportunity to really work out why and then use that to help you with the similar question the following week. So keep going with those, keep practicing those essential mental and written strategies. On Tuesday, you're going to be focusing in on numbers that have 2 decimal places. So looking at numbers that have digits in the tenths and the hundredths. And you're going to be thinking about how we would show that on a place value chart, how we could represent it with place value counters like the ones you can see on the screen, how we could describe that number and partition it. So we could say that there are 0 ones, 2 tenths and 3 hundredths. And how we would say that number, we would say 0.23. Note that we would not say 0.23. After the decimal point, we say the name of each digit separately, so 0.23. So you're going to be doing all kinds of questions and problems dealing with numbers that have 2 decimal places on Tuesday. And on Wednesday, you're going to be thinking about how decimals relate to fractions, because they are just another way of describing parts of a whole. So if we think about the decimal 0.1, in words, we would call that 1/10. So as a fraction, we would put it as 1 over 10. So 1 out of 10 equal parts. Similarly, for a hundredth, 0.01, 100th would be 1 over 100. And then obviously for a thousandth, 0.001, and we put 1 over a denominator of 1,000. And you're going to be doing some work practicing converting between decimals and fractions. So you've got some examples here on the right. 0.5 is 5 tenths, 5 over 10. 0.72 is 72 hundredths. 0.638 is 638 thousandths. And there's a really useful little video on Wednesday's lesson that will help you to do that really efficiently and accurately. So make sure you do have a look at that. On Thursday, you're going to focus in a little bit more on thousandths. You're going to be thinking about how thousandths relate to hundredths and tenths. And if you look at the diagram on the screen, we can see that we have one whole. If we divide that one whole into 10 equal parts, then we have tenths. If we divide each tenth into 10 equal parts, then our whole is divided into 100 equal parts, or hundredths. And then if we divide each hundredth into 10 equal parts, then our whole is now divided into 1,000 equal parts, or thousandths. So it's really trying to understand what we mean by thousandths, as well as thinking about how we represent them. So 9 thousandths would be written as 9 over 1,000, or 0.009. So lots of work on Thursday all about thousandths. And then on Friday, you're going to be thinking about rounding decimals, because depending on the context, you might be asked to round them to the nearest whole number, to the nearest tenth, or to the nearest hundredth. And the rules for rounding are exactly the same as you've already learnt for whole numbers. So with the example on the screen where we're asked to round 2.719 to the nearest tenth, we look at the place to round to. We might underline that or circle that. We look at the digit to the right, which in this case is the hundredths. Because that digit is a 1, we know that it would stay as a 7. We're not going to round it up. So the answer would be 2.7. And it's important that if we're rounding to one decimal place, then our final answer must only have a digit in the first decimal place and nothing after it. So Friday is all about applying the rules of rounding to decimal numbers. As always, I've looked up useful video links each day to help you with the skill, so remember to use those. Remember to look back at this one for reminders throughout the week, and just keep going with your work. Okay, I know from talking to your teachers that you're really trying hard with this, so keep it up, keep trying. Think about all the different hints I've given you and clues about using the answers, trying your best, moving on if you get stuck, and hopefully you'll have a really successful week working on decimals. Okay, see you next week.